innuendo into that of reckless public identity. Besotted with the young poet, Wilde fell in with Bosie's lifestyle and indulged his demands. The two lovers drank and partied together and became the subject of scurrilous rumours. They began to host wild sex parties with young working-class men who they paid to fuck or get fucked by. Wilde's public image, an educated and charming raconteur married with children, clashed with his private life, and while the conflict could hold for a few years, it wasn't long before the inevitable happened. Wilde was expecting it. In a letter to Bosie after his release from jail, he wrote, "It was like feasting with panthers. The danger was half the excitement. I used to feel as the snake charmer must feel when he lures the cobra. They were to me the brightest of gilded snakes. Their poison was part of their perfection." After clashing with Bosie's father, the Marquis of Queensberry, Wilde was left a calling card from the Marquis, accusing him of being a sodomite. Queensberry, having two homosexual sons whom he regarded as having been corrupted by snob queers such as Wilde and then Prime Minister Archibald Primrose, 5th Earl of Rosebery, was obsessed with homosexuality. Wilde's friends told him to leave the case well alone, but, pushed by an impetuous and jealous Bosie who hated his father, Wilde sued. There was a fatal hole in Wilde's case. He was a sodomite, and Queensberry could prove it. The civil trial not only humiliated Wilde in the eyes of a homophobic Victorian public, but instigated a further criminal trial for gross indecency. Wilde was found guilty and sentenced to hard labour, which, in the end, indirectly killed him. Wilde's imprisonment, as awful and scandalous as it was, came at what was both a dangerous and an auspicious time for the new figure of the homosexual in Europe. Within certain, albeit small, literary and scientific circles, a new identity was forming. Sexologists described a third sex somewhere between male and female. In cities thronging with new proletarian masses and enriched by colonial plunder, a group of people became the first generation of activists pursuing something we might recognize as gay rights. They discussed same-sex desire with sensitivity, even respect, calling themselves Uranians, Urnings, or even homosexuals. For such people, Wilde's trial was an important moment in the development of what would, in the ensuing decades, become something like a coherent movement. Scandals, after all, brought public attention. The newspapers wrote about the dangerous homosexuals, and more people began to recognize themselves as such and be endangered and intrigued by what that recognition might mean. Wilde's utopian vision of love between men remains, in Britain and beyond, a creation myth of the public male homosexual identity. Speaking at his trial, Wilde launched a passionate defence of homosexual desire. "It is in this century misunderstood, so much misunderstood that it may be described as the love that dare not speak its name. And on that account of it, I am placed where I am now. It is beautiful. It is fine. It is the noblest form of affection. There is nothing unnatural about it." Such a statement can almost be seen as a rallying cry for the century of LGBTQ rights activism that was to follow, and Wilde became one of its first martyrs. Bosie became a footnote in the story, an embodiment of evil twink energy, a poisoned apple whose path through life left a wake of destruction that led to the great hero's downfall. Yet Bosie, the man, his desires, his attitudes, and his foibles, was just as integral to the eruption of homosexuality into the public sphere as was Wilde. Bosie set the trial in motion. Indeed, it was actually Bosie and not Wilde who had coined the term, the love that dare not speak its name.